Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show. Hello. Good morning.
Could just keep saying hello. Good afternoon.
Good day.
Good evening.
Good Friday. It's Friday. Here when recording, at least.
Goodness.
Loch Ness.
I had to give that to you.
This morning I was genuinely spaced out at a part of my morning to think about the fact that I've been losing for quite a while. It's nice.
This is for anyone who's never heard the Benji and Nick Show before. This is indeed the Benji and Nick Show, as the Benji and Nick Show thing at the beginning would have told you. And the Loch Ness game, as it's come to be known, is a little game we bizarrely didn't mean to evolve that happens at the beginning. And whoever says Loch Ness is the winner.
Yes, it's
that's the game. It's rubbish.
It's very much, I think children in playgrounds have more sophisticated games than us.
I bet they do. I was playing a more sophisticated game with my 10-year-old son last night, where I was being a zombie walking around who was going to mash his head, and he just found that so exciting. I did my arming in the process, but
well worth it though, isn't it, for a bit of zombie fun?
Would you like to explain what it is we do in our various styles of podcast, Benji?
Certainly. Well,
I fear listeners are falling off by the second.
Are they really? Well, they better not. No, don't. God, blimey. Sorry, we put some mattresses down there. Now, this is the Benji and Nick Show, and what we do, we specialise in cult television. That's right, TV from the past, oddities that people have forgotten about, things that people love, and things that we just want to talk about. And so we do a variety of different things. In this particular podcast, we are splitting it between emails from our lovely listeners and commentary. For this week, it's Doctor Who: Revenge of the Cybermen, Part 3. As well as that, we often pick something to watch, and then we'll I say review, but we kind of just critique it and talk about our experience watching it.
Yeah, we watch it between two podcasts, and the next week
And as well as that, we also we tell you what we've been watching, and if we watch any cult telly or just general television, fantastic military
general
figure.
television,
like Private Detective, the military detective who's also in the army. But yeah, so that's
Major
what we
nuisance.
do really. We just love old television and the past in general, really. So that is what we do. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, quite a fan of the future. Anyway, I've got an update on the shaving foam situation.
Oh, yes.
Shaving gel, I should say.
Do tell us.
Well, a while back, for those of you who haven't heard it, I talked at length.
Certainly was.
About a telephone box that seemed to offer limitless calls back in the 70s. The end of the 70s, actually. 78, I reckon. And for 2p, I just spoke for like 2 hours or something on it. And then a couple of years later, I went back and the very same telephone box did the same thing. And I felt that there was an inextricable and bamboozling link between that and the shaving foam I've got that seemed to be running out in the early months of this year and has continued to deliver shaving gel, not foam. I keep having to correct myself on that, like anyone's interested in the difference between gel and foam, because gel turns into foam.
Once you rub it, don't you? The gel comes out, then once you lather it, it turns into foam, yes.
I'm so glad we're getting this clear. I told that story to someone. Actually, I think it was Andrew Smith, who listens to these podcasts.
Yes, it was Andrew. It was Andrew Smith.
And he said to me, "Was it Gillette Fusion?" And I said, "Yeah." He went, "Yeah." But anyway, I got to the point with this gel. I have to tell you now the shocking news, everyone, that I'm using a new can. But it was still working. The old one was still working, but I got sick and tired of having to wait for it to come out so slowly by pressing really hard. And also, the quality of the gel was not good.
Dwindling.
And can you imagine the delight of using the new gel? And the only word I can use to describe the quality of the new gel is vibrant.
vibrant. That comes out fast and electric, doesn't it?
There was also, a little bit of spray in the air, like particles flittering up. It was so delighted to ejaculate itself from the can.
I tell you, the one thing I do, since having a beard,
yes,
I do miss shaving, like properly shaving, because...
But that's why I've got a goatee, because I can shave, although, as you can see, I haven't shaved for about a week.
I don't think I can have the goatee, because I'm quite jowly at the sides here. I didn't think it would suit me, you see. But I used to shave every single day. Even if I wasn't going out, I'd shave every day, purely because I enjoyed it.
God, I hate shaving.
Oh, I love it, the clean feeling of a shave.
I don't mind shaving the sides, but it's the bit where I've got the goatee. I can't stand shaving that bit.
I can't stand trimming the beard, the whole snipping it and keeping
I don't mind that.
Oh, I can't. It's such a mess.
We're such different people.
We are very different, but the same in many ways, but different in many other ways. But
anyway, that was the update.
Very important
I hope
update.
I hope it was not as boring as I now suspect it might have been.
And if you go on July the 20th at St. Gillette's Church, where we will be laying this shaving foam to rest.
Oh,
shaving foam.
Do you want to do an email?
I'd love to do an email, yes. Well, we're kicking off this first one with a fantastic subject of 70s telly. This was sent on the 29th of the 6th, 2019 at 7:04, bright and early. And it's by Jenny, I believe, Jenny Shirt.
Yes.
Looking by the content of the email. Hi, Nick and Benji. I loved last week's Big Finish Day. It was great to chaperone Nick. For all of you that don't know, Big Finish Day was a celebration of audio drama for Big Finish Productions, which is a company that we both work for. Nick's executive producer of, and I'm sound man and music. It was good fun, and we saw a lot of you lovely listeners there as well, which was fantastic. Carrying on with the email, says, thanks for a brilliant day. Everyone had such a good time. After Big Finish Day, a few of us were talking about old TV, and I can remember being terrified of the public information films back in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
There was one film called Apaches about a farmyard and the dangers that children have to be aware of. They all died horribly. I was scarred for life. They did, though. That was a horrific...
What did they do? Did they fall into a cesspit or something?
Yeah, one kid falls into a load of pig's will. The one that creeped me out more than anything was they were all playing around with some random liquid, like some chemical or something, and pretending to drink it, and then one girl does drink it and dies. It's horrific. Probably one of the most horrific ones.
I'm scarred.
But it's meant to sort of teach you of all these things to be aware of. But I always think it was just an excuse to make some mindless massacre of a video, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Did Sam Peckinpah direct them or something? Slow motion death. It was a lot of sort of close-ups to people's faces going, no! As somebody gets run over by a tractor or something, or eaten by a hen. Pecked to death. The other thing that we spoke of was Look and Read, especially Dark Towers with Gary Russell and The Boy from Space. It'd be great if you talked about them on your podcast one time. Thanks again for a great day last Saturday, Jenny. It was the Saturday before last now, so sorry. We're a bit late getting around to your email. By the way, all the emails to this podcast are sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com.
That's where we should have done that, shouldn't we?
I just thought I'd throw that in now.
That's all right, we'll put it in at the end
when there's no script.
Just to make sure. No, Look and Read was brilliant back in the day, wasn't it? With I seem to remember it gets stuck in my head quite regularly as the was it Magic E, a pip becomes a pipe with me, everyone come and see, or something like that, and all this little wizard with a thing, and loads of good songs. And
I think I'm the wrong age group for that.
Yeah,
I certainly didn't see Dark Towers with Gary Russell. I know Gary used to run Big Finish as producer, and then went to the BBC as a script editor, and is working on all sorts of exciting things. And he's an old friend of mine. We used to live about a 5-minute walk from each other in southeast London. We were always popping round for cups of tea to each other's houses. That's the context of Gary Russell and why I know him. I haven't seen him for ages, actually. Yes, and he was a child actor, and I am aware. Was Lalla Ward in Dark Towers?
I can find out. I do remember Dark Towers. I watched it when I was a kid, and so I don't really remember anybody who was in it. Gary
There was
Russell,
another thing Gary did with obviously he was in the Famous Five.
He was in the
Did
Famous
you?
Five.
Yeah, you knew that. Yeah.
One that we should
And-
do.
Yes, well, I've watched a load of those because my son was interested in those about 3 years ago. What was the other thing he did? It was about a flying carpet with bad CSO.
Who, Gary? Let's have a look. Felix and the Carpet.
That's right, yeah.
God, that takes me back. Oh, that's something that I've not seen. Those words, looking at Felix and the Carpet, just brings you back to being about 10 years old. Probably younger. Yeah, Dark Towers. David Collins as Lord Dark in there. Christopher Biggins as Benga. Peter Mayhew as the Tall Knight. See, my memories of
no Lalla Ward in it.
no Lalla Ward in there. No, not that I can see, but perhaps she was uncredited.
What about The Boy from Space? I know Gary wasn't in that. I have a vague recollection of that. That was all shot on film, The Boy from Space, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
quite a classy production, I seem to remember.
I
Or
don't
was it
remember an awful
rubbish?
lot about it. I remember watching it. I think that was at the point, because when I watched Look and Read as a kid, it was Dark Towers, Through the Dragon's Eye, which I loathed and thought was terrible.
Was The Boy from Space from Look and Read, though? Or
Yeah,
is
The
that
Boy
just
from
a
Space,
separate-
1980, Look and Read.
Wow.
Broadcast 15th of Jan 80 to 25th of March 80.
Oh, you see, I was the wrong age for that. I was at drama school by then, so...
God, there's Earth Warp was another one, and Spywatch, which I remember being at school and everybody there saying Spywatch. Well, that for some reason, I don't know why.
I've never heard of either of those.
Yeah, Look and Read was very good. I don't know. I presume they don't do modern version, the modern equivalent of it, but yeah, I liked Look and Read.
Well, thank you for that, Jenny. You see, you provoked some interesting, well, I say interesting, in inverted commas, interesting chat about that. Thank you so much for looking after me, chaperoning me at Big Finish Day. You did a fantastic job. Everything works like clockwork. Well, they do a fantastic job at Quad there, and the Hoovers. Very grateful to them. Also, of course, we bumped into Colin Smith at Big Finish Day, who does our beautiful Benji and Nick show covers. One day he just started doing them, and he's been doing them ever since, and actually I think he went back and did all the ones that he hadn't done.
He's an essential member of the Benji and Nick team.
Yeah, sends brilliant covers in, and sometimes I have the temerity to ask him to alter things, which I feel very bad about, but he's always very nice about it. He may be sitting there sort of grinding a pencil into a photograph of me, I don't know.
Yeah, drawing devil horns on your
He's
head.
also been responsible for giving me winning moves in the Loch Ness game, so he will always be
giving you a bit of an
remembered and
advantage. I
valued for
see.
that.
I see. I see how it is.
I let you win this time.
I'll let you win.
No, I was trapped. I was trapped into a goodness situation. Anyway, further exploits of Batman 66 from Elliot Priest, not Priest. Hi there, Benji Man and Nickin. Batman, I suppose, and Nickin, looking, you see. Yeah. I was recently listening to your episode on the Adam West Batman series and greatly enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Elliot. I thought it might interest you to know that the adventures of Adam West Batman and Burt Ward Robin were continued in the comic book series Batman 66, which introduced villains never seen on the show, with the appropriate 66 twists such as Two-Face, Killer Croc, Bane, Harley Quinn, etc. And perhaps most interesting, there are crossovers between Batman 66 and The Avengers, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and The Green Hornet. Best regards and keep up the excellent work, Elliot. So, do you mean The Avengers as in
Yeah,
yeah.
Obviously,
Wow,
some
were those official, do you think?
Well, I suppose it's
Those
The Man from
comic
U.N.C.L.E.
crossovers?
and The Avengers, so maybe there was an ITC sort of link there.
Well, the neither of those were produced by ITC.
Well, then there we go. Then that shows my ignorance, doesn't it? Really.
I really had to restrain myself from attaching some sort of insult at the end of that sentence.
Well, I I am a blithering fool, but I'm not.
But the answer to one of our competitions was, what was the odd one out about ITC Productions, and the Avengers was the answer, because it's not an ITC production.
Well, that's why I didn't enter the competition, Nick, because
I didn't enter.
but it's, I always think it's a shame that there are so many great comic book characters and villains that weren't in the 1966 Batman. Two-Face would have been brilliant. Can you imagine? Two-Face would have been superb,
It's nice that they did it in comic strip form, so yeah. I didn't see those comics.
Harley Quinn would have been missed opportunity there. To have Adam West do what he always does with a beautiful woman, fall madly in love with them. as Bruce Wayne, and then just not notice, even though they wear like a little ribbon over their eyes. Yes. He's got no
idea who it is. Yeah, I love that convention.
So Kitka. It was a Kitka Orensky something or another, who was actually a Catwoman. You're so beautiful. I've never felt this way about another woman. So good. That was us on the way to Big Finish Day. Actually, me and Nick were in a van together, and it did amuse me, because on the way there we listened to the 60s Batman soundtrack. On the way back, it occurred to me, because I was putting on music, I thought, what if Nick's just tolerating the fact that I always put on weird soundtrack stuff? What if he thinks it's a bit odd? So I thought I went and just put on some generic sort of music, and then Nick just sort of goes, "Do you want to put on the Batman soundtrack again?" I was really getting me in the driving mood. I was like, "Oh great!" I was like, "I'm definitely in safe company here."
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love the fact that you thought I might not like it. I would not tolerate it. It was the general music you were playing that I wasn't. I was thinking, get the Batman back on, for God's sake. That's what I want to hear. Listen, when I'm driving on my own, when I drive to the station sometimes, I'm constantly listening. I've got a sort of best of ITC music CD, and I just play that constantly. I just listen to Danger Man and Gideon's Way and The Saint and Man in a Suitcase and The Prisoner and The Champions and Department S, just over and over and over again.
So there's something good about that. It's like, I've been listening to Arthur of the Britons soundtrack, which I found on Spotify, which keen-eyed Twitter followers might have seen, that I put up there.
I did.
I stumbled upon it. Absolutely brilliant, completely fantastic score, which I think arguably sort of you don't notice when you watch the show.
The theme is by a different person, isn't it?
I have no idea. I assume so. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
most of those things
because the theme is is a much bigger piece of music, which I absolutely love.
It is an incredible piece of music.
It's really fully orchestrated, whereas the other stuff is a bit of a small band, isn't it?
It's kind of more of the odd
Dudley Simpson
English horn, French horn sort of going on there, isn't it? It's brilliant though. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I love an old soundtrack though. I love all the stuff from the Sweeney as well, and the Professionals, all those sort of 70s bits and bobs like that.
Well, and these old soundtracks are the reason that, with no musical training, I can do music, because I've spent years dissecting them and working out the rhythm and the bass line and the lead line and all this kind of thing, and I can, and it's interesting when you talk to people who don't do music, because I don't see myself as particularly talented in that direction, but luckily enough I've had the opportunity to do it, and no one has gone, boo, get him off, it's terrible. Talking to other people, and they can't hear all those things. They just hear the sort of the noise of music, and they just know whether they like it or not, and it just sort of comes as a sort of, I'm doing a little encapsulating thing with my hand, meshed thing. They can't dissect the different elements that make it up. It's just,
that makes me quite sad to think that, because I think there's
well, they just get it for sort of what it is, but I can hear the different bits. I
think you can get a lot of joy, can't you, from especially when you're listening to something, you think, they popped in a little bit of flute there, a little flutter, or it's like
interesting. Someone who will remain nameless, a director, once said to a composer I know, I don't like that bit there. You just need more of the tune in that bit. I need to hear more of the tune. So the composer kept going back and really boosting up the lead line. Maybe it was played on a flute, and they thought, well, maybe I should put some horns in there to support the flute, and they can play the same tune at the same time, or but he kept doing it. He kept saying, no, I can't hear the tune. He thought, well, God, the tune is all that's there now, the melody of the piece, but he eventually worked out that what he meant by the tune, he said, no, the tum, 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 tum. It was the drums. That's what he was talking about. Because to him, that was the tune of the piece. What he was hearing, what he liked about it was the drums. So he thought, and Ismail thought, that's the tune. And so, the composer said, you mean the rhythm of the piece, the percussion? What? Well, yeah, the tune. Right. So it's quite difficult sometimes talking to people who can't dissect the different elements of a piece of music.
But that's the I suppose the intricacy of music, isn't it? And there are other things that fascinate me as well, like when I was in a band, and the guitarist was one of the most talented guitarists, my dear friend Tony, one of the most talented guitarists I've ever met. He was absolutely fantastic at songwriting and writing harmonies and lead layers, but he was tone deaf when it came to singing, and he couldn't sing backing vocals because he could not match the tones that he was playing on the guitar with his voice, and so he just couldn't do backing, so we had to masquerade it in doing more gang vocals, like sort of shouting and things like that, which he was able to do. But that blew my mind. I thought, it's how fascinating that somebody can work out a tune, work out the harmonies and octaves and different things, but not be able to vocalise that. So that's
because I often work out tunes by humming them myself and then finding the notes on the keyboard. I think, it should be a thing here. I'm going, you know what I mean?
And that's how I work. I'm not a I do everything by ear. In my stuff,
you don't use your fingers.
I don't use my fingers. No, I just sort of listen for the sound.
Hit the keyboard with your ear.
I just sort of project. It's like a little speaker from my ears. I just mic myself up. But no, I do very similar things. I work out roughly where I need to be and work it out that way. I suppose I'm a musician, very much rely upon post production because I can fix my mistakes later on.
Same here.
You wouldn't find me propped up in front of a crowd with a keyboard because I'd just do a terrible job. But
same here.
but I think it's okay to, it's like anything. Now we have the ability to do that. That doesn't make you any less of a musician. It just makes you a different kind of musician. Just as the same way that a conductor in an orchestra can put together the piece, but can't play the instruments necessarily to the same ability as those in the orchestra themselves. Don't think that makes him any less of a musician.
No.
God, that's the most intelligent thing I've ever said.
It is, literally. There should be some kind of incredible piece of music to signal that.
Yeah, like a sort of Mozart, Sieg or something.
Do you want to do the next?
Yes, I'd be most privileged. This one is from Terry, and it says here, RE Revenge Ep 2 podcast. I can't recall where/when I heard this story, maybe the Tom Baker years VHS, but Tom Baker used to laugh at Brian Grelis' Shepra cough every time he turned. Maybe he thought Magrick's cold. Maybe he caught Magrick's cold. Ooh, by tissue. There, great podcast, guys. Again, cheers. Thank you very much. Well, Tom better than all of us. I can imagine he strikes me as a bit of a laugher.
Well, yeah. Well, which one is Brian Grelis then? Does Shepra cough as well? Shepra's the one who says, "We need time to regroup," which he'll be saying in the next episode we're going to watch. How many Cybermen? 2 at least.
Yeah, Brian Grelis is Shepra.
Ah.
Yeah, he's Saffron, Shepra, and Megaphone Man in multiple. He was Megaphone Man in Snake Dance, Saffron
Megaphone Man,
in
what a part to play.
Invisible Enemy, and Shepra in Revenge of the Cybermen.
So his career sort of went on a downward thing. Shepra was the pinnacle of his career. Then Saffron didn't have such a big part, and then the Megaphone Man, crikey.
Now I would say very much so. This was this really was the best bit of his career, because the job before being Shepra, he was hot dog seller in The Gentle Touch.
Oh,
And-
hot dog. Who can forget a hot dog seller?
And van radio officer in Minder.
See, kind directors give people character names. It sounds better. I mean, when I played a tiny part in Noel Clarke's film Adulthood, the part when I got it was just called hairdresser, and then he went, "Oh, Briggsy, I'm going to change it to Max. We'll call him Max," so that he said, in the cast list, it looks more like you've played a part.
That's nice of it, isn't it?
Yeah, so that'd be good for your CV. Very considerate.
He's a nice
right.
geezer, isn't he?
Next email. Note from Tom Hodden to your Facebook page. Gents. Oh, Tom Hodden sent this on the 23rd of June at 7:23 in the morning. Gents, wonderful news. The marketing department has given us the green light for the spin-off DVD, An Evening with Benji and Nick, Volume 7, Television Magic. The script hasn't yet been written, but I think we can accommodate most of your ideas. We will begin with Marina from Stingray interviewing Sooty. Neither of them speak. Then Benji, one of them speaks into Harry Corbett's ear, and it's not Marina. Then Benji and Nick will be joined on the sofa by Gordon the Gopher, Ed the Duck, R2D2 and Sweep for a roundtable commentary of episode 1 of The Love Boat. Can you imagine that? It would just got to be lots of...
Be enough to turn you crazy.
Yeah.
I've always got a soft spot for Gordon the Gopher, because...
what did Gordon the Gopher, what noise did he make?
So I think it was
squeak.
Certainly from the puppet I had, it was just sort of like a squeak. Yeah. But I had a puppet when I was a kid, and then I got a puppy, and I found Gordon in pieces on the floor one day, and the puppy had
He was upset. Gordon
him.
was in pieces.
He was.
in pieces,
He got puppies. Yeah. So anyway, carry on.
We will have to keep Sweep off the drinks. Apparently, he can be foul-mouthed when somebody puts 20 pence in him. What? I think that's like there used to be Sooty and Sweep charity donation.
You can still find them, can't you? In like
what do you call them?
Like pots, aren't they? The collection pots, jars.
Mannequins, yes. I couldn't find the word mannequin in my very small brain. Benji will then take over for the game show segment, yet to be named, where contestants try to guess the contents of old VHS tapes with no label from their smell.
Ah, yes. Well,
I have assumed the producers. I have assured the producers that the £1 million grand prize is almost certainly safe. Now, I know you requested the main discussion of the episode to be about the classic Doctor Who serial The Seeds of Doom, but we can't afford the rights to the clips, so either you discuss an episode of Question Time from 1996, or we carry on regardless with the discussion as planned, and hope that nobody notices all the clips are from Ground Force. Either way, the big musical finale is definitely a go, as long as Mr. Briggs can keep his guitar solo down to 17 minutes or less.
Yeah, you need to watch that. You do get carried away.
And decides if he is playing grime rap or skiffle jazz beforehand, as the fusion of both, although an interesting experiment, did enrage every dog in a 6-mile radius.
Yeah.
I will, of course, keep you posted for future developments. Yours, T. Hodden. P.S. It was lovely to meet Mr. Briggs at Sci-Fi by the Sea, and I hope his quick visit to my corner of the world was not too much of an ordeal. I can only assume that when not at the convention, you found time to explore the town, sample one of the better restaurants, and visit the Clifftop Towers to do a Richard Burton impression and recreate pivotal scenes from the cult classic The Medusa Touch.
Did you do those things?
I didn't, no. I immediately left. My friend Ellie, who lives in Westgate on Sea, which is half an hour's drive from Herne Bay, which is where Sci-Fi by the Sea was, came and collected me and took me for a nice dinner with her family.
I once had some really good cheesy chips in Herne Bay.
Did you really?
I did, yes.
We had fish and chips for lunch there. They provided all the guests. There was Mark Strickson and that chap from Primeval.
Oh, not the little guy.
Yeah.
The little fella. What's his name?
The little fella.
He is a little guy, isn't he?
It's a handsome chap, leading man. Potts? Someone Potts? No, that's not right, is it?
Let me get up the IMDb because I'm sure.
Potty Pot. I can't believe I just said Potty Pot for no reason.
Andrew Lee Potts. He wasn't the one
That's right. See, I got the Potts right. Andrew Lee Potts.
He wasn't the guy that I was thinking of, funnily enough.
Oh.
Who was I thinking of? Who was the little guy?
How little?
Quite small.
Oh. Because Andrew Lee Potts is quite short, I think. Maybe I'm doing him an injustice. Not that there's anything wrong with being short. Can you hear me digging? Yeah.
Maybe it was him. I don't know. It feels like wasn't him, but maybe it was. I don't know.
He was the sort of nerdy one. Anyway, he was. We were never. The funny thing is, when you go to these events, unlike say a Big Finish recording where we make sure everyone meets. We say hello. This is Kevin and this is Brian, and they say hello, and no one introduces anyone, and that we all, and you never know. It's like they think that because we all have some degree of notoriety, in my case a very small degree of notoriety, that somehow we're part of a degree of notoriety club and we all already know each other. And of course, I know Mark Strickson to chat to, and Annette Badland, who was sitting next to me and doing all the signing, but Andrew Lee Potts, I've never met him before, and so we're stuck in this situation where we're all sort of looking at each other and no one knows whether to say who they are, whether to insult the other person's intelligence and get a response of, yeah, I know, or, well, I've no idea who you are. You know what I mean? Anyway, over fish and chips in the porter cabin. Andrew Lee Potts did say some very amusing things. So we did all start sort of having a chat, but none of us introduced ourselves to each other.
How peculiar. Yes, it was him that I was thinking of, because I just went through the photos of him, and as soon as I saw him wearing a hat, I was like, yep, that's him. That's the guy.
Also, there's a dilemma of trying to explain to Andrew Lee Potts. What else? Is he famous for other things? Was he in Coronation Street or something?
Let's have a look. He played a character in The Crown, Band of Brothers. He was in there.
He's proper job, isn't he?
Proper good stuff.
Trying to explain to him who Mark Strickson and Richard Franklin are. I just didn't want him to sort of. I don't know. It just seemed. I'm stopping talking now. Should we do the? Should we do the commentary for Revenge of the Cybermen, episode 3?
Why not?
Well, because it's quite sad of us to do it. That's why not. But we're going to do it anyway.
It's what makes us human.
Indeed. Wise words.
Oh, come on.
Benji.
He's got my respect. He was in Hetty Wainthorpe Investigates.
Well, there you have it. Was he the boy's sidekick, or was he just a guest star?
No, he's not the boy's sidekick. Don't be silly. That guy was a great actor who was in Lord of the Rings, Dominic Monaghan.
Never heard of him. Right. Let's... so we do 3, 2, 1, click?
Yes, okay.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, we ready? 3, 2, 1, click.
Okay.
Right? Okay. 3, 2, 1, click. Yeah.
Hey, we're in.
Oh,
we're
thank
in.
Goodness. Had a bit of technical difficulty there, folks. What were you saying before?
I was saying there's the TARDIS coming towards you. Have you ever noticed that? Well, I'm sure you have because I know you well, Nick, but the lamp at the top is a weird sort of shape, isn't it?
Yes.
It's round, and I never understand why.
There must be some reason why it worked better for the slit scan thing.
I suppose it's less intricate by being just a round thing rather than lots of little details, but it does bug me so.
I'll make it round, no one will notice. Part 3. Oh,
there he goes.
They're all being shot by Cybermen.
There's old Tony Blackburn down, doing a little skid on the floor there.
Tom Baker getting ready to do his over-the-top
little sneak.
Pretend dying.
Uh-oh. Here they come. Holding their... I like the instruction. They've clearly been asked to hold their chess units to maybe activate the gun or something.
Oh no, totally. Yeah, they're pressing buttons to make it work. I love this cue here. It's not in the last episode.
Oh yes, it is, isn't it?
Ding, 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 ding.
Added on again, isn't it? They've added bits to existing bits of music to pimp it out a bit.
Yeah, I love the way. Did you see that third Cyberman in the back? He was kind of going, look, he's still doing it. Look, he's looking. Look, he's going, I can't quite see.
Do you mind just...
I've never noticed that before.
Moving your head, please, Governor.
So, what is going on anyway? I don't know. No one told me what this mission was. This is Peter Howell music, isn't it? Doo, doo, doo.
little sneaky.
Because I don't think Harry Blyton was using a synth. Was
a bit of old Apple there.
Yeah. It's been there since the Dalek invasion of Earth.
Considering it's been in his pocket a while, it's not decomposed quite as bad, has it, really?
Yeah, well, he's a Time Lord.
Yes.
He walks in eternity. I'm tired. I'm very nice.
I love the way he's crossing his legs and sitting down. Really, really casual, isn't he?
Hold on, I've caught a bit of gold in an embarrassing place. I'm just going to uncross my legs.
My golden underpants are flaking.
Golden balls.
He looks like he's half asleep, doesn't he?
This...
Look at them all. Just that's how I feel at the end of the day. Tired.
Now, this was the key moment. This is the main shaft. I remember nearly leaping out of my seat when that happened. He's saying shaft.
Where is he from? He's not American, presumably.
No.
Is he? I don't understand at all.
Do you see the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
See, he's already cross, isn't he, for an emotionless Cyberman?
He's very cross, and it feels like he's sort of struggling to legitimise himself in front. I am a really nasty leader. I'm the big boss. Please believe me.
Oh, you are mistaken. I bet the script doesn't say, "Oh, you are mistaken."
You are mistaken would be much more appropriate, wouldn't it?
Darling, I thought it might be quite nice if I say, "Oh, you are mistaken." What do we think? I tell you what, I'll just do it on the studio day and they won't have time to edit it out.
So, Nick, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think of this particular cyber costume?
I don't like the way that the heads aren't secure.
Mm-hmm.
And that piping, I remember recognising that from plumbing at the time and thought, I much preferred the invasion, which is this. These are the invasion heads, aren't they?
Modified slightly because they've got the bigger piping, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
hands up. It'd be lovely if they blew his hand off, wouldn't it?
I like the flares aspect particularly. That makes them rather wonderful.
I didn't like that.
But my favourite will always be the moon-based style.
I know. They're all right. I've had my cyber phases.
Haven't we all?
City scum!
I remember when I first watched this, and I felt like I just wanted to fast forward all these boring bits of intrigue and get to this.
That Cyberman's got his head turned slightly. That's what I don't like about them. That helmet's not fitting properly. Look, and they're wibbly wobbling.
Yeah, they're top heavy, aren't they?
Yeah. They need. I mean, the cyber leader, his neck piece seems to fit all right, doesn't it?
You
can
can
really
see
see those guys
in,
cannot see where they're going. Oh, wibbly wobbly woo as he goes off there with his...
They should be secured, shouldn't they? You use the piping to your advantage to secure it in with things.
Now, this, of course, is episode 3 of a Doctor Who story, so there's a lot of whiffle waffle.
Padding out, tell us the plot.
Trying to work out the plot. What the flip is going on?
It's, all this stuff here, I just don't care. This is the sad thing.
Interestingly, this is all Robert Holmes. This is all the stuff he put in. None of this was in the original.
I suppose it's again because of the Vogans there. He's an old man talking like this. It does send you to sleep, doesn't it?
I think that maybe Robert Holmes was sensitive to the fact that he didn't want too much with Cybermen in. I mean, he also changed Genesis of the Daleks, and I bet he cut a lot of Dalek scenes out of it.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, but that's a whole different thing.
They're very chatty, these Cybermen. The most chatty they had been at this point.
I suppose as well, because they're more human. Weirdly, they just sound like blokes, don't they? Really.
That's the clip they used in Earthshock.
That's the one, yeah.
I think Christopher Robbie, even though he's made what I think is a bad choice, he does it well. I mean, you notice that when he when he moves in an agitated way, you really do feel that there's some danger there, don't you?
I think they're dangerous. I think that having the gun in the head adds a danger factor as well, doesn't it?
Must be very noisy. I think you've riled him. I mean, why did they put that in? They're meant to be emotionless. It was that Cyberman standing between Tony Blackburn and Colonel Buchan there. Wouldn't it be good if he was doing that looking around thing still, and like gently dusting some dandruff off their shoulder or something?
Picking a flea out of their hair. I love all this stuff. I absolutely love it when the Cybermen grab somebody.
I had never heard before, and have never heard since, the phrase loose thinking.
It sounds like a sort of buzzword you hear a lot now, doesn't it?
I have not heard it.
I call this form of anxiety loose thinking.
Blink. He nearly fluffs his line. There's some information.
Oh, I was just looking around. I'll go and do something.
It falls into the trap, doesn't it, of the same with the Earthshock Cybermen, that any non-cyber leaders just tend to act and behave like oafs, don't they, really?
Look at that neck piece on the one in the background there. Now, this is Peter Howell again, music. I wonder
Didn't
what,
see that coming, did you?
Wibble wobble head.
Follow the leader. He nearly went over then.
Yeah. That was in the trailer for this episode, by the way. Do not kill them. I remember that distinctly.
Strange thing to put in the trailer, isn't it? Surely you want the opposite.
Kill them. They showed the Cybermen manhandling them, and then they fall down, and it goes, "Do not kill them." And I remember thinking, "What? That's weird. He sounds American."
There's old Kelman there.
I love the fact that Kelman's a total racist and can't tell the difference between the two Vogan factions. You're all just Vogans to me. I don't care whether you got long hair or short hair. Take me to Vorus.
Well, means nothing to me. Nice backpacks.
Yes, I was going to say, you know, that bit where the Cyberman came and grabbed the Doctor earlier, and there was a bit of Peter Howell music in there. I wonder whether Carrie Blyton did compose anything for those bits where it's been replaced, or whether he just left them blank and Philip Hinchcliffe either thought, we need something there, or we don't like what he has done there.
Well, you know, it's interesting when you hear the isolated score that there are elements that aren't in the final episode. So perhaps it is a case of not liking the score.
Well, no, he certainly didn't like the score. He's been public about that, Philip Hinchcliffe. And he interceded to have it changed.
It does feel like unlike the other two, it feels like it kind of doesn't fit the setting for this so much. Certainly not the space element of it. Maybe the Vogan side, but certainly not this, you know.
No, I remember you've said that before, and I think you're absolutely right. You can see reasons for his choice of instruments in other episodes, whereas this just comes across as a very eccentric score.
I mean, the one thing about this that I love is all these little bits of gear and technology around. You know, like the devices that they hold and the bombs and everything. You can tell that they had a real field trip on this one.
This whole business about the delay and when the bomb goes off and it's all a lie, it's really weird that the Cybermen go to all that trouble, isn't it, to deceive the humans, but
you think they just get on with it?
You think they just get on with it? Why don't they just fire a blinking missile? Or why don't they do the thing that they end up doing, which is loading the Nerva full of bombs and sending it? You know, why trust a vital part of your plan to a bunch of humans?
But it's the James Bond syndrome, isn't it? You know, it's the whole, I could shoot you now, but I'm going to pad this out for a good 40 minutes.
Which was lampooned in the Austin Powers films, you know, with the son of Dr. Evil saying, "Don't leave him, he'll escape."
And it's exactly like this. It's like they give them just enough time to thwart the plans.
But I think what we're talking about here with this script is a lot of last-minute fixing and flurry of activity. You know, a lot of typing into the night.
It would be interesting to see the original script.
Well, I've been reading the very original, the very first, called Return of the Cybermen. And it's nothing nothing like this. Nerva's in it, but there's no Voga. Sarah is hardly in it. She gets, bitten early on and doesn't recover for a while,
Interesting.
Not a good stunt falling there down those steps. Those guys must have been really padded to fall down those stone steps.
They must have all had to do the same.
I loved
leaps,
this cue.
Oh, this is my favourite cue from it, yeah.
Those sort of tubular bells there.
Love the trumpet stuff as well. Look at them.
I think they've edited the cue together twice, though, haven't they?
They look ridiculous, though, those helmets, though, wobbling around, don't they?
And that they're walking in a kind of, please don't let me fall over. You said I had to look around here. I don't know why.
I mean, it is quite ambitious, isn't it, really? Having Cybermen in full outfits on location in some dank, dark caves.
In a death trap.
These hilarious
not a word of it.
bombs
Doesn't
on their
believe
backs.
the Cyberman plot.
The fact that they taken the time to fix on some sort of straps to strap the bomb to yourself as well.
This whole business about later on that we have about trying to draw the signal away and all this, it doesn't really make sense, does it? Doctor Who in not making sense, shocker.
Yes, yeah, well, quite. I was quite sad to see that.
I love that shot there. 2 Cybermen, lovely. Might screen grab that.
I was quite sad to see that on the Blu-ray. They've apparently, with the new fixes and extra CGI, they've got rid of a lot of the display screens and added new CG elements. But I actually think that they don't need fixing because they look pretty sci-fi as they are.
Yeah.
Just because.
Well, unfortunately, this is what a lot of these fixes come down to: the opinions of certain fans who are involved. And no doubt, if I was involved, I would exert my point of view. So
it's like, I can understand, especially for this story, a lot of the model work going on with the ship was brilliant. You could do good CG stuff with that, but for those screens I think they're fine as they are.
It calls to mind, if I may just digress from what's going on screen, when we were doing the Day of the Daleks special edition, they realised that the filmed footage they'd shot with a soldier and a Dalek, and they'd bothered to get the right film camera and everything, but they had the soldier in slightly the wrong uniform, and they realised after filming it that he was in a camouflage uniform, whereas in Day of the Daleks they weren't in camouflage. And they wanted us, when we were doing the dubbing, they said, could Nick add in a little radio message on the radio, just sort of saying, we've called in regular troops as backup and everything. And Mark Ayres said, I'm not doing that. You've made a mistake. We're not adding an extra element of the production to cover up your mistake. And so we didn't do it, I sort of agreed with Mark. I think, you've tampered and then you've messed up with your tampering. I mean, luckily, no one notices,
I mean, especially in that story, when I think of camouflage in that story, I think of the guerrillas, not the unit troops.
Oh, yes. Now, all those bits with the Doctor, Tony Blackburn and Colonel Buchan walking around and stopping and talking, it feels like those were meant to be shot on location and they've had to sort of remount it on the rather shoddy set, doesn't it?
Well, it's suffering from that classic Doctor Who thing, isn't it, of fake cave, real cave. Yeah. And they don't... It's like 40 Towers, main set, outside, 2 very different things. I love that screen and also though.
Wow. Also, they keep... having those battles opposite sides of the dustbin, as I've mentioned before, in Police Squad. Oh, they're so close to each other, aren't they?
We'll just throw a bomb.
Yeah. I've got a bit of the set in my beard, but don't worry about it. No one will notice.
He gives it his all, though. You can tell he is going for it,
David Collins.
Yeah. Absolutely going for it.
Who was also in Dark Towers with Gary Russell.
Yes, he was, yes.
I think Gary worked with a lot of very famous actors on the Famous Five as well, lots of fantastic guest stars. Really
Famous Five was quite sort of production values. It was pretty damn good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Back on film now.
Back on film, all looking rather good.
Cybermen as well, though, look more convincing on film.
Yeah, even though the back of his faceplate was coming off.
It's complication.
I mean, it must have been very loud for the Cybermen to have a gun going off on their head.
But then they haven't got real ears, have they? So Maybe their ears are in the chest units now. Eh?
I wonder what the origin of the whole sort of handle on the side of their head thing was. Why? It's right from the beginning of the Cybermen. Why do they look like that?
Well, I know that they have those, like in the Dalek books, where they talk in detail about what everything is and what it does. Is there an equivalent to the Cybermen where it says what things are?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because it would be interesting to know what their purpose. Because they never have there's nothing that shows that they have a purpose at all, other than grabbing them and throwing them around. Look at that.
This is Peter Howell music, and this is where Liz Sladen nearly died.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's terrifying.
But anyway, she's okay here. Oh, there she goes.
Those big balls.
Steady. The reciprocators, are they called? Receptacles?
Look at that wonderful lighting there. That was really lovely when it lit up in front of her.
It's nice effect.
See, look at that. Look at the difference that makes as well. The blue lighting there. That just looks so... adds an extra
Luckily,
oomph,
even though
it?
they've got big ear things, the Cybermen are deaf as posts because they don't hear the transmat working in the room next to them.
Distortion. We have no peripheral vision.
I mean, what a bunch of oafs. You could just kick them over, couldn't you?
I love that side shot of the Cyberman though.
Looks like he's going to the toilet.
I love the fact, look, she's got vital information there and she's got no one to tell it to. That's a nice little bit of...
Blimey, look at that.
God, we've almost finished the air fix.
Good. Start on the Spitfires. Kelvin there being a real horrible man as usual.
Git. Well, Margaret's been blowing his nose too much.
What did I tell you about coming to work?
He's been waiting, staring out the door for no reason over there. He turns around and pretends to be... My grandfather used to pretend to be a Dalek with a walking stick like that.
Well, you can't even say he was looking at the view because there's nothing out there, is there?
Look. A murderer of his own kind. He's going, yeah, that's me.
I like it. He plays it well, though, doesn't he?
He does. Oh, look, he just did a little kissing thing with his mouth then. Kelman just went... like, he's having a little joke with Kevin Stoney.
He's being silly, isn't he?
The Cybermen held the answers.
Oh, Harry Sullivan, ever the gentleman.
I love Harry. I never read that book, Harry Sullivan's War. And funnily enough, I'm writing a character in a script at the moment, not a Doctor Who script, and I'm thinking what I'm essentially writing here is Harry Sullivan. This is who I've got in my head while I'm writing this part.
There's nothing wrong with that, though, is there? Harry, as we've already said, more please.
Yeah. Dum dum dum.
God,
the little heartbeat music, and it's music. This I always thought it was the actual bombs making that noise. You know, fictionally.
It would have been nice to have the bombs making a noise because at the moment they just look rather ridiculous, don't they?
Yeah. But this
look like Sputnik 3 or whatever it is. Those weird satellites.
Boom boom. This has got to be Carrie Blyton, hasn't it? Because it's in time with music that starts happening later.
And it's on a physical drum, isn't it? Where I could imagine if it was radiophonic, they would have done it on a synth, you know, boom, boom,
yes.
Boom, boom.
Why must gold affect a radar picture? It's one of those facts that just you accept it completely, but I don't think gold affects radar, does it?
I don't know, I'm going to have a look now. Does gold interrupt radar?
Yeah. And Google thinks, here's a Doctor Who fan.
And you know what the answer is?
Yeah.
Nothing. No, it doesn't. It's a complete fabricated
I love
fact.
the fact that, you see, Robert Holmes just threw that in for no good reason. Yeah, I'll just say that. I quite like the audacity of that. I mean, if you're...
what a score.
Peter
Real
Howell.
moog going on there.
Oh, you could see the flesh of the face of the actor through the Cybermen's mouth there. Oh, another dead one. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That hurts.
Blimey. Smash.
I'm not even a stunt man. This isn't fair. I'm talking to my union.
But it is amazing, though. It is amazing how adding a synth like that really makes the Cybermen seem scary. That, for me, was like a big moment.
Yeah.
Whereas,
so I wonder whether Carrie Blyton did something there that Philip Hinchcliffe thought, nah, not having that.
Probably just...
What? How'd you get the isolated score then?
It's on the DVD, isn't it?
Yeah, but how?
If you go into audio options, it should say isolated music.
And you just get the music?
I think it's on there. I don't know. I've not got my DVD box set.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yes.
I think it is on there.
Warner's very brave later, isn't he? I think that doesn't happen until part 4, though, does it? Because what we got here is that, look at this rubbish thing. So we don't really believe that's a tunnel, do we, folks?
Of course we don't. No, it
There's
isn't.
too much polystyrene everywhere.
It looks like it isn't on the DVD, so it must have been some random release that they some CD release where it's out there. But it is. I found it on YouTube before.
Oh.
Of course, part of it's on the 50th anniversary CD release as well, isn't it?
I know, but there's not much of it, isn't it? Oh, here comes the polystyrene. This was the curse of all adventure series of the 60s, 70s and 80s, wasn't it? Polystyrene rock.
The polystyrene...
The Doctor, look, gets totally mullered there by rocks.
It's quite...
Oh, ow, look, I mean, that
would kill you.
Pelvis.
That would kill you, undoubtedly.
And there's Kelmon dead.
He deserved it, though, didn't he?
And this death was meant to appear in episode 4, I think, but they thought, well, let's kill him now so we don't have to employ him for another episode.
It's a cheap way of working, isn't it? Back on set and looking very...
Back on location, you know.
I mean, that's exactly what I mean. The lighting is brilliant.
And I remember the tension I felt, you know, and you think, oh no, he's going to open the thing because he doesn't know it'll blow up.
But of course we forget that if he fell, surely the bomb would have gone off. You can see the the plastic warning there on that, presumably like a fuel bottle cap or something.
Yes, like the Cybermen would put warning on there.
Yes, you must be careful.
Yes, humans, warning, don't take this off.
Well, good episode, that one. Bit of padding here and there, but otherwise top.
I was missing Margrig. He wasn't in it, was he?
Yeah, he got the day off. I've got the day off, you know.
Finally, for the cold.
Oh.
He's one of those employees who always has a cold.
He always does, and he comes into work. Well, they kept telling him, didn't they?
Yeah.
But no, fantastic work. We're near the end now of our journey.
Yeah. When he turns up at the end, does he have his handkerchief?
Well, we'll have to find out.
I'm better now.
Except I've got the flu.
Oh, you're better now?
Yes, we've all got it.
Now we're all going to be destroyed by the Cybermen.
Oh, should I go home? No, thoroughly good work. Well, what are we doing next time? Oh, yes, Jamie, yes.
See if we can raise Jamie, and then we'll decide what we're doing next. I know what we're going to do next time. Jamie Anderson, right, that's... What are we going to ask him?
Dunno. Random question.
Yeah. He's not going to be there, is he? He's in shit. Oh, hello.
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 Where are you? You're in Sheffield still.
No, I'm at home. I'm in my kitchen. I'm just making a cup of coffee because I'm so blooming tired.
Oh dear.
But I picked up my phone. It's still made a YouTube video play on my computer next door.
This is what happens.
It happens to me, yeah.
Benji's got the same glitch. Let me stop it. Turn off.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyways,
does anyone else listening have that glitch that when someone FaceTimes you, it starts YouTube playing on your computer?
Well, Benji's got it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird, unexplained thing.
Crazy. Well, it's good to see you.
Likewise, thanks.
Have you got a question for him?
Yeah, what's the most embarrassing thing that happened in your childhood?
Wow, what's the most embarrassing thing that happened in your childhood? I'm glad he's laughing.
It's not appropriate for...
I think I've heard it, actually.
Is it the bingo? What were you thinking of?
Well, I can't say it out loud, can I?
You hint enough that I might guess it.
Well, I think it was something adult.
Oh, I don't know what we're talking about now. No. I just don't feel comfortable putting the one I'm thinking of out into the public domain.
Fair enough.
I'm sure there's something else. I tell you what, this is not particularly bad, but it was embarrassing as a child. I publicly. Oh no, that is the thing you're thinking of, the strawberry flavoured thing.
What?
Right, okay, fine. It's a little bit now. So I was on holiday with my parents in Portugal. I was about 5 years old.
Yes.
And I went to the loo for a pee.
And it was strawberry flavoured? No.
No, and there was a machine on the wall, and I looked at it, and sat down next to Dad, and there were about 15 people at dinner, and in a quiet moment, not understanding what was going on, I said, "Dad, what is a condom?" And everybody fell about laughing, and then he very quietly explained it to me to one side, which was, fascinating. And then I thought about it for a little while, and then remembered something else I'd seen on the machine, and loudly said, "Dad, why are they strawberry flavoured?"
Oh no.
So obviously at the time that was not that embarrassing until it was explained to me why, and why all the adults around me were laughing. So there you go. That's one of many embarrassing stories from the life of Jamie Anderson.
And did your father ever reference this later to you in later?
Always. At the most inappropriate times, he would just randomly say, embarrassed me, but nobody else knew the story. There you go. Is that appropriate for a podcast?
Yeah, I think we can just about get away with that. Yeah,
that's a good one. I like that.
Sexual health awareness, anyway. So that's fine.
Yeah. Yes, we must advertise that. There's sexual health awareness in the Benji and Nick show.
Was there any more questions? I suspect you probably don't want me to say anything else now.
No, you've blown it. This is the last podcast we'll ever do.
Goodbye.
And anyway, I need to get on and have lunch. So thank you very much for your contribution. It is, as always,
a pleasure.
valued.
I'm sorry for the nature of it.
All right. Well, I may speak to you later.
Yes, and then I can tell you the bingo story then.
Okay. Yeah.
Even more embarrassing.
Good. All right. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Thanks.
Bye. There we are.
Magic.
There goes.
What a nice man.
And a little anecdote there which involved the famous Jerry Anderson. I'll tell you what we're going to do next time. Next time we're going to do some more emails, and we're going to talk about the television that we've been watching recently. And I'll certainly want to talk about the Avengers and the new Avengers. What will you want to talk about?
More Arthur of the Britons and Shadows as well. I watched another episode of Shadows, which
well, there
really
you are.
good.
It's good of us. We have to say this because Colin Smith will be listening, and he can now do a cover based on what we've just said.
What we've said.
That is the brief. Thank you, Colin. Right, time to get close to the microphone.
Yes, I suppose it is that time, isn't it, sir?
And don't forget to write to us at podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. We've got a few emails in the bag, but some more would be very welcome.
It's a big bag. So from me, it's goodbye.
And from me, it's goodbye. Pressing stop now. Ka-chunk.